Welcome to Mia's Stories. Make sure to subscribe to never miss an update, and a lucky chance to video chat with me. I began crafting jewelry at the age of 10, and by 12, I discovered a talent for designing dresses. Initially, my creations were shared among close friends, but their popularity quickly spread, leading to sales within my school community and beyond. What started as a hobby soon turned into a profitable venture as demand increased. With the earnings, I diversified my creations to include earrings, bracelets, and necklaces. Sewing became a skill I cultivated in secret with my mother's guidance since I was 11. Collaborating with my nana, I crafted garments for my family, sparking an interest in designing skirts and dresses by the age of 13. The positive reception of a dress I designed for my mother prompted me to create more designs, which gained traction when worn by friends. Despite the overwhelming demand, fueled by word of mouth, I persisted in fulfilling orders, unaware of the challenges ahead. My parents, especially my dad, recognized my talent, and with the growing income, they decided to establish a company with the help of our lawyer. However, due to security concerns, my dad suggested using a different name, an alias, for protection. Although I hadn't considered it before, I agreed upon his suggestion. But what name to choose? My mom proposed using a girl's name since my primary customers were girls my age. She believed it would make them feel more comfortable purchasing from what they perceived as another girl. I embraced the idea and settled on Ava Margaret, which were my initials and sounded elegant to me. As local sales flourished, my older brother suggested expanding online. His reasoning was that if we were successful locally, why not attempt to reach a national audience? Encouraged by my parents, we decided to give it a try. Ryan, my brother, created a webpage, and soon orders started pouring in. I juggled school and weekend work to keep up with demand, with the earnings being deposited into our bank account. Initially, I only sold jewelry and those 3 dresses online due to the low shipping costs. Suddenly, I found myself earning a substantial income. Everyone in the family became adept at using a sewing machine, and together, we managed to meet the increasing demand. Shortly before my 14th birthday, I received an email inquiring about additional dress designs and whether I had any photos of myself wearing my creations. I had never used a model or photographed anyone in my dresses, so I asked around, but none of the girls who had purchased my dresses were willing to participate. Despite my efforts, I couldn't find anyone to model for me. By that time, I had created 4 dresses, 2 jumpers, along with some skirts and tops, but I was at a loss for what to do next. During dinner, Ryan questioned why I hadn't considered modeling the dresses myself. "Just look at you," Ryan remarked. "Most of your customers are your size, you have similar features, and you're not even close to growing a beard. You could easily do it." His suggestion prompted a moment of silence at the dinner table, followed by my mother's enthusiastic support. She thought it was a fantastic idea. Glancing around the table, I noticed everyone smiling at me. "Think about it, honey," my mother continued. "We can style your hair, apply a bit of makeup, and have you model the dresses. Dad can take the photos, and Ryan can handle posting them. It will be our little secret. Just imagine, no modeling fees." But, I can't. I mean, I'll look beautiful, honey," Mom said. "You'll look just beautiful. After dinner I'll get a few measurements, and tomorrow I'll get you a few things that you'll need. Then on Saturday we'll get you fixed up and take a few pictures." It was a done deal. Between them, Mom and Dad that is, they made it sound so easy, and since there wasn't any way I could get out of it, I did the next best thing. I ignored it. But, true to what Mom said, on Saturday morning early, Mom got me up and began to make me look like a girl. At my age I didn't have a beard, so that wasn't a problem. Just hips and a larger chest, makeup and hair. Mom fixed all of that, starting when she had me put on a pair of panties. I tried to say no, but she merely pointed her finger, and up they went. One look was usually all it took when she wanted us to do something, but if she pointed that finger at you, you knew she meant it. Over that went a panty brief, but she used a small towel folded a few times to create hips. Then came the pantyhose, which I will admit, felt just great when I pulled them on. After that she wet my hair and used a few rollers, her curling iron, some hairspray, a pair of scissors and a pair of barrettes to create a very feminine hairdo for me. I was shocked at how little she had to do to make my hair do that. Then came the makeup, which I now know wasn't very much at all, just some powder, blusher, eyeliner, and lipstick. I slipped into a brand new bra, stuffed with nylons, under one of my dresses. The dress, red and green checked, had a retro vibe reminiscent of the 70s, with its mini-length and square neckline. Paired with red shoes and a funky red hat, the ensemble was complete. When Mom declared me ready, I glanced in the mirror and was pleasantly surprised by my appearance. "Cute," Mom remarked. I almost wanted to call it quits then, but Mom insisted, and soon Dad was behind the camera snapping away. I modeled all of my creations, including the other 4 dresses, 2 jumpers, and 4 sets of skirts and tops. It was a bit tedious, with Dad directing me into numerous poses for each outfit, and since most of the tops I made exposed my midriff, I ended up revealing quite a bit. By the time we finished, it was well past lunchtime, and I was eager to change back into my own clothes. However, Mom had a surprise in store and retrieved something from the closet. "Let's give this a try, Ava. I think it'll suit you nicely." "Mom!" "None of that, Ava. Take the dress and let's get you changed." Reluctantly, I followed Mom and slipped into the dress she had purchased. It was a pristine white with delicate blue piping, featuring a fitted bodice and a flayed skirt. Lace trim adorned the shoulder straps, matching the lace detail on the hem. Mom then handed me a pair of low white heels, and as I stepped into them and caught my reflection in the mirror, I was speechless. Mom took my hand, leading me back to the family room where Ryan and Dad awaited. They both sprang from their seats as we entered. Standing there, my hands clasped nervously in front of me, I felt frozen. Mom gently nudged me forward, and I timidly entered the room. "Wow!" Ryan exclaimed with a grin. "I always wished for a sister, and now I've got one." Dad must have been aware of the surprise. He grinned at me and then approached, wrapping me in a warm hug. As we watched, Ryan transferred the pictures onto the computer, displaying each one for us to see. We selected 2 images of each outfit before Ryan promptly uploaded them to my website. Amidst the process, I became so engrossed in Ryan's work that I momentarily forgot about my attire. It took about 3 hours for Ryan to finalize the new pages and publish them online. Afterwards, Mom announced that we were going out for dinner. Assuming I would need to change, I headed towards my room, but she handed me a purse and a tube of lipstick, insisting that I looked fine just the way I was. Leaving the house in a dress wasn't exactly my idea of excitement, but if I'm honest, I discovered a surprising lack of discomfort with the idea. It was intriguing to see my designs on what appeared to be a feminine silhouette, yet the societal norms nagged at me. Boys simply don't wear dresses. Thoughts of potential ridicule at the restaurant flashed through my mind, but I had little say in the matter. Mom adjusted my hair once more, watched as I applied lipstick myself, and even spritzed me with perfume before declaring me ready. Reluctantly, we set off for dinner. Surprisingly, the evening passed without incident. Sitting there clad in a lightweight dress felt peculiar, the sensation of being only partially dressed unfamiliar. Mom's gentle reminder to keep my knees together added to the oddity. Once seated, I had to admit it wasn't as awful as I had imagined, although I kept that thought to myself. Upon returning home, Ryan checked the order page to find nearly 80 orders awaiting us. It seemed that almost every item had sold, with dresses proving slightly more popular. It was evident that fulfilling such a large number of orders immediately was impossible, but my mother assured us she would enlist the help of Nana and my 2 aunts. I remained in my girl guise for the remainder of the day, reverting to my usual self the following morning. Like everyone else, I stitched away as swiftly as possible, but despite our efforts, the orders continued to pile up on Ryan's desk. Dad stepped in and located a shop capable of producing and shipping all the garments for a nominal fee per item. Almost instantly, my supply issues were resolved, allowing me to focus on my studies and design work. All seemed well for about a month until I received an email that changed everything. A popular teenage celebrity had stumbled upon my website and expressed interest in purchasing some of my clothing while also desiring to meet me. However, she insisted on meeting Ava, not Charles. In her message, she mentioned the possibility of having exclusive designs made specifically for her, with the potential for her ensemble to wear them on stage if they met her approval. In return, she promised to endorse my name and website to her vast audience. Instantly, everyone had an opinion, but Dad swiftly intervened, putting a damper on my excitement and ruining my day. "Do any of you grasp the magnitude of this opportunity?" Dad exclaimed. "It's worth millions. This celebrity is incredibly popular among our target demographic, and if she wants to meet Ava, then Ava it is. You," he pointed at me, "will embody the 14-year-old girl that everyone believes you to be. This is a chance we cannot afford to miss, and we won't let it slip away because you're unsure about your appearance as a girl. You look adorable, and you will embrace being a girl starting the moment school lets out. It will continue until we ensure your establishment. Any questions?" I had numerous questions and some objections, but I never got the chance to voice them. "Great. Mary, ensure she has everything she needs. Redecorate her bedroom, whatever it takes. Just ensure that by the time school lets out in a few weeks, Ava becomes your typical 14-year-old girl." My life took an unexpected turn in an instant, and there was no feasible way for me to decline. Not if I wanted to safeguard my future, spare my family from embarrassment, and avoid making a fool of myself, that is. Ryan had been accurate in his assessment that I was roughly the same size as most girls, a source of ongoing discomfort for me at school. Nearly every boy, and even some of the girls, towered over me. Standing at 5 feet 1 inch and weighing 108 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes, I was fairly average for a girl, but considerably smaller than the guys. I glanced at Mom, then back at Dad, and finally at Ryan. "I need your word. Nobody breathes a word," agreed. "No one will suspect a thing, dear. In fact, based on your recent appearance, even your closest friends will be thrown off." Mom sounded confident. "On Saturday morning, we'll get you all dolled up and then head out for a bit of shopping. There are a few essentials you'll need to pull off this transformation. We'll all pitch in to redecorate your room. In just 10 days from now, Ava will seamlessly blend into this household, and no one will be the wiser. Understand?" The days leading up to my transition back to girlhood felt interminable. Ryan and Dad cleared out my room to paint it while I temporarily bunked in the guest room. Mom and I carted all my new belongings to my temporary abode. Meanwhile, Ryan diligently painted the walls a soft mint green. Each day after school, I peeked in to witness the transformation of my once proudly male domain into a space fit for a teenage girl, mint green and white hues, a bed with a canopy, a vanity, and fresh shelving. It all looked lovely, but the reality sank in. This was going to be my new reality. Mom called me to help her with dinner, and as we walked past my bedroom, I noticed that the transformation was complete. Mom informed me that we would commence the next day, once school was out. Various unpleasant thoughts crossed my mind, but the following morning, Mom entered my room and assisted me with getting dressed once more. This time, I wore a skirt and top of my own creation, paired with flats that Mom had purchased, and I had to carry a small purse. The miniskirt left me feeling quite exposed. Mom drove, and my anticipation of heading straight to the mall was shattered when she pulled up at a small shop. I had no clue what we were doing there until we stepped inside. Adorning the walls were images of female busts. It was clear what they specialized in, and I swallowed hard. Mom explained that I was lacking in that department and needed assistance, very good assistance indeed. The woman attending to us didn't even bat an eyelid. It took about an hour for me to feel thoroughly embarrassed as she measured me, consulted color charts, and fitted me with a pair of prosthetic silicone chests perfectly suited to my frame and age. Staring at my reflection in the mirror, I was stunned to see what appeared to be my own chest, seemingly grown overnight. Mom helped me put my bra back on. I got dressed, and we exited the shop. With every step, the sensation of weight on my chest was so novel, so distinct, that I was acutely aware of them at all times. They felt tangible, almost real, and surprisingly warm. My obvious concern made Mom smile, and she told me that after a few days I would get used to them, just like every other girl does, and not to worry. But I'm a boy, not a girl, and boys don't look like this. Yet every time we passed a window I saw my reflection, and I saw a girl. Perky little chest, nice legs, a cute face and no part of the real me showing. It was almost depressing. The first thing on Mom's list was to get me some lingerie, meaning bras and panties, slips and nightgowns. I wore a size 32A bra, Mom said. From there we went to the junior department where we stocked up on skirts and blouses, dresses, slacks and shorts, a suit and even a swimsuit. Shoes, both flats and heels in black, taupe, red and white. Then she had my ears pierced. By the time we were done in the store, I realized that not once had anyone realized that I was a boy. We took everything to the car, stopped for lunch, then she took me to her salon. I won't go into the details except to say that my hair was clipped, rolled, brushed, and spritzed. There was no doubt that I now had a very feminine hairstyle. My nails were also trimmed, filed, and painted a soft pearl pink. Even my fingers seemed to look thinner. Everything was happening so fast, and the innocence of my maleness kept me on edge. Mom was well aware that I felt out of place, but she never let me forget that we were doing this for a very good reason. We were going to try and fake out my gender to someone that really was a girl, and popular on top of that, and that scared me most of all, I guess. All during dinner, Ryan and Dad were staring at me, but both of them said that I was really cute and left it at that. Mom, however, told me that starting in the morning I was going to learn how to do my own makeup and hair, how to dress and what to select for what occasion. That night as I got ready for bed, Mom came in just as I removed my bra. My very first inclination was to stand there, but my arm went up to hide my chest. Ava, no need to be bashful. I have them as well, you know. Put on your nightgown and come downstairs. I'll whip up some popcorn. I took off my clothes, cleaned my face, and put on the nightgown, leaving just the panties on. The flannel fabric provided unexpected warmth. As I prepared to leave the room, I caught sight of myself in the mirror. The gentle curves pressing against the flannel served as a reminder of my decision to embrace femininity. Pausing for a moment, I reflected on this new path and realized it wasn't as daunting as I initially thought, especially after getting used to the vulnerability of short skirts. I grinned at my reflection before heading to the living room to watch TV and enjoy some popcorn. The following morning, my mom and I headed out to deliver the latest orders from the factory for shipping. I opted for a skirt, blouse, and flats attire, having applied my own makeup and styled my hair as my mom insisted. With some time to spare, I returned to my design board, relocating it to the patio. Engrossed in sketching new dress designs, I was interrupted by a looming shadow. Glancing up, I recognized Marilyn, one of the models I had recruited for my dresses. Despite the awkwardness, it seemed she hadn't yet realized who I was, evident from her expression. This assumption was further supported by my attire, a top with only thin spaghetti straps, leaving me braless and exposing my chest. "Hi, I'm Marilyn," she greeted. "Ava," I replied, gesturing toward a nearby chair. Marilyn settled opposite me, glancing at my sketches briefly before her gaze fixated on my chest, then returned to my face. "Charles also sketches. He's quite talented," she remarked. "Oh, really?" I responded, attempting to sound casual. "Charles lives around here. I've been to his place before," Marilyn continued. "He's not around right now," I clarified. But you are. Oh my God, you Charles," Marilyn exclaimed suddenly. Just then, my mom emerged with some soft drinks, noticing Marilyn's agitation as she took a seat. "Marilyn, dear, remember when Charles asked you to model his dresses, and you declined? Well, when the opportunity arose for those same dresses to gain international recognition, and we were in dire need of a model since everyone else declined, Ava stepped up." Marilyn was visibly shocked when Mom revealed the truth, her gaze fixed on my chest, which appeared entirely authentic. Sensing her confusion, I discreetly dropped a pencil, giving Marilyn the opportunity to confirm for herself as I leaned over. "But if you, Ava, where's Charles?" she queried. "Charles is away for a while, Marilyn. Ava will be staying with us for the summer, perhaps longer." "We're still deciding," Mom explained. Marilyn then extended an invitation, inviting me to a party at her house on Thursday. "Why don't you come, Ava? You'll get to meet everyone. It'll be fun," she suggested with a smile. I glanced at Mom in sheer panic, but she simply smiled back and accepted on my behalf. As Marilyn left, expressing her anticipation to see me again, I turned to Mom, ready to protest. Before I could speak, Mom silenced me with a raised finger, calmly questioning whether I intended to spend the entire summer at home. Realizing the futility of arguing, I reluctantly agreed to attend the party. Mom reassured me that I already had a swimsuit, though I voiced concerns about how it would fit. "We'll figure it out," she said reassuringly before leaving me with my sketchbook. However, my focus had shifted from designing dresses to envisioning myself in a swimsuit, an image that didn't sit well with me. 2 days later, Mom instructed me to grab my purse, informing me that we were heading to the doctor, which left me puzzled but compliant. Arriving at the doctor's office, I noticed Mom's grin. Once inside, the doctor attended to me promptly. Dr. Valerie Benson, who had delivered me, knew my gender history, yet she showed no sign of surprise. Instead, she instructed me to remove my skirt and panties and then climb onto the examination table. Unsure of what was happening, I trusted Dr. Benson's expertise. After spraying something between my thighs, there were various noises for about 30 minutes. Eventually, she administered a needle and instructed me to remain still. Meanwhile, "How long will this last, Valerie? Ava is still my son, after all," Mom inquired. "Don't worry, Mary. It should last about 3 months. If she needs a repeat, just give me a call, and we'll schedule it," Dr. Benson reassured. "It looks so natural. I'm still amazed at how you achieved it, even though I watched," Mom exclaimed. "Don't worry, Mary. Ava will retain full bodily functions and will blend in seamlessly with other girls her age. With the silicone form she's wearing, she can go undetected even when unclothed," Dr. Benson explained. "I hope you're right, Valerie. I just hope Ava takes this news well." "I didn't disclose the reason for our visit," Mom expressed her concern. "And you don't think she's aware?" "Of course, she knows. The numbing spray I used is similar to what dentists use. She could feel everything. It just wasn't painful," Dr. Benson clarified. "But she didn't say anything," Mom responded. "Mary, listen. Ava enjoys dressing as a girl. Isn't that obvious? If she didn't, she would have resisted the moment I began the procedure," Dr. Benson reasoned. "But Ava never explicitly stated. I mean, she always acted as though." Mom trailed off. I had gotten dressed again, after I checked out the new plumbing. Now I could meet the diva, go to Marilyn's party, or do anything else I wanted, all as a girl, and never worry about it. I never told Mom that I liked wearing girls' clothes. In fact, it only came over me when we left the salon. That's when I knew for sure. I liked being pretty, the taste of lipstick and the smell of makeup. Having my own feminine chest, wearing pantyhose and skirts seemed so natural now. After just a few days as a girl, I already loved it. That was scary in a way because I had never dressed this way before, but now, well, I looked like a girl all over. I never told Mom how I felt because I wasn't sure she wanted me to say that. But now, well, for all intents, I was a girl. It was all I could not to run my finger up and down the newly formed slit. I still wasn't sure what Dr. Valerie had done. All I knew was that I looked like a girl, and I liked it a lot, especially the way my panties fit me now. I walked out just as Mom was talking, but she stopped when she saw me. She looked at me like I was an alien, so I said the only thing that came to mind. "Thanks, Mom, I really appreciate it," I exclaimed, embracing her warmly. Mom appeared taken aback, speechless, as she followed me outside. Eventually, she gathered her thoughts and asked, "Ava, why didn't you tell me you enjoyed dressing as a girl?" "Why? What if you didn't approve?" I countered. "So, when did you realize all of this?" she inquired further. "Before Marilyn visited. Maybe even earlier, but I didn't want to upset anyone. I thought I knew the day after I received this chest, but it became clear after our salon visit. It was like a light switched on inside me. Well, I've always wished for a daughter, and it seems like my wish is coming true." Mom hugged me, and we went home. Not having any impediment between my legs felt so different, but it did make it easier for me to sit with my knees together, and nothing hurt. However, when we got home, Mom made me go to my room where I got the most embarrassing lecture on how to keep myself clean, and Mom was adamant about it. She told me that I could catch all sorts of things if I did not stay clean. Then she watched me as I did what she told me. I asked Mom not to tell Ryan, and she agreed. For the next 3 days I designed more skirts and dresses, but spent some time at my jewelry bench. I enjoyed that the most, and spent one whole day just making things for myself. I also got used to my new shape, having to use the bath and so on. I got better at doing my own makeup and hair, and managed to figure out the bra after a few days. But it was what I saw in the mirror when I was alone and undressed. Other than skinny hips, I looked like a girl. One night, when I was in bed, my hand slipped down and I felt myself. I wondered what it would be like to have the real thing. Thursday morning, my mom reminded me about Marilyn's party, prompting me to retreat to my room to try on my swimsuit. Looking in the mirror, I appeared exactly as I should, a slender 14-year-old girl. Despite knowing deep down that I resembled a girl, doubt still nagged at me. While I felt comfortable at home and in public where no one knew or cared about my true identity, attending Marilyn's party posed a different challenge. These were kids who had known me since childhood. The thought of someone discovering my secret filled me with dread. The consequences seemed dire. After much contemplation, I resigned myself to the possibility of exposure. I changed out of my swimsuit and into one of my own dresses, packing my swimsuit and towel into a bag along with some makeup and a brush. With a brief farewell to my mom, I set off on the short walk to Marilyn's house. Along the way, I ran into Janet, one of the girls I had asked to model my clothing designs. "Hi there." "Hey," I replied. "I'm Janet. I live just over there." "I'm Ava. I'm staying in the greenhouse behind." "You're the girl Marilyn mentioned. Are you coming to her party?" She invited me, and my mom thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to get to know everyone. Engaging with Janet felt like treading on thin ice. Among all my friends, she knew me the best, and I suspected she might see through my facade. Yet, she didn't say anything as we walked together to Marilyn's house. Marilyn greeted us, her mom took our bags, and we joined her and other kids on the patio. Most of the boys sported tees and shorts, while the girls, including myself, wore lightweight skirts or summer dresses. Marilyn introduced me to everyone, which felt odd since I already knew most of them. However, no one gave me any strange looks, so I relaxed. Sitting at a table with Janet, we chatted about various topics until Marilyn suggested changing for the pool. The guys headed to the basement while all the girls, including me, went to Marilyn's bedroom. This was the moment to dispel any doubts, and inwardly, I grinned as Janet led the way. I remained convinced that Marilyn and Janet harbored doubts about me, a suspicion confirmed when I removed my dress, unhooked my bra, and slipped out of my panties. Both of them stole a glance in my direction. Though subtle, I caught their gaze, prompting me to turn slightly, revealing a girl resembling them. Without hesitation, I grabbed my swimsuit, pulled it on, grabbed my towel, and observed as Janet and Marilyn followed suit, shedding their clothes. It was apparent that their figures were similar to mine. Heather was well developed, while Jill was less so. The four of us made our way downstairs to the pool. Just as I set my towel down, Mike grabbed my hand and pulled me into the pool. Mike had always been a prankster, so I half expected some mischief. As we resurfaced, I felt his hand on my buttocks. Ignoring it, I climbed out of the pool and glared at him and his amused expression. "What's the matter, Ava? Can't take a joke." "Creep," I muttered before retreating to the opposite end of the pool and easing into the water. Heather approached me, whispering that she had heard Mike was interested in me. I listened intently, resolved to steer clear of Mike more than ever. Dressing as a girl was one thing, but entertaining the idea of a boyfriend was an entirely different matter. However, since Marilyn had balanced the numbers with 4 boys and 4 girls, if she played some music and others started dancing, he might end up asking me. Scanning the surroundings, I observed them all. "My brother thinks you're cute too, but he's as shy as they come," Heather added. Heather's twin brother Jacob looked nothing like her. She was blonde while Jacob had brown hair. She matched my size, but he stood tall, almost 5 feet 8 inches, and outweighed me by 50 pounds. "If you're interested," Heather suggested, "I'll introduce you to him. It might be the only way to catch his attention, Ava." Determined to thwart any chance for Mike and aware of Jacob's shyness around girls, I nodded in agreement. Heather wasted no time. She sprang out of the water, seized her brother, and escorted him over to me, facilitating the introductions before departing. Standing beside him, attired as I was, offered me a fresh perspective on femininity. Jacob boasted more muscle mass than any of the other guys and a captivating smile. Though both of us were still awkward and unsure, a glance toward the other end of the pool solidified my decision. Purely in self-defense, I drew closer to Jacob, prompting Mike to cease his scrutiny. Mission accomplished, or so I thought. Jacob took my hand, assisted me out of the water, and joined me at the table. As the afternoon progressed, Jacob and I remained seated, refraining from swimming or dancing, engrossed in conversation. I discovered his passion for biking, his disinterest in the grunge scene, and our shared interests. By the time it was time to leave, Jacob and I had forged a fast friendship, a connection we had never experienced before. Returning to change into my clothes, I was accosted by Janet and Marilyn, eager for details. However, I had little to divulge beyond acknowledging that Jacob seemed pleasant. As I was slipping on my panties, "Jill seems to have a crush on Jacob," Janet mentioned. "Hey," I interjected, "Heather just introduced us today. There's nothing between us, if that's what you're implying." "Well, he certainly seems smitten, Ava. He's head over heels." As I pulled the dress over my head, Janet's comment caught me off guard, but since they couldn't see my reaction, I remained stunned. I gathered my belongings, expressed my gratitude to Marilyn, and made my way to the front door. To my surprise, Jacob was waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs. "Can I, walk you home?" he asked somewhat awkwardly. I turned and noticed the smirk on Janet's face, though I reluctantly nodded in agreement, conflicted between wanting to refuse and complying. Once we were outside, he took my hand, and suddenly I became acutely aware of the effect a girl can have on a boy, a realization that hadn't occurred to me before. Walking along the sidewalk, I couldn't help but ponder what Dad or Ryan might think if they saw us like this. The thought of being teased relentlessly crossed my mind, but as a girl, I reasoned there was no harm in holding his hand. And so, hand in hand, we approached the front door. Dad and Ryan were outside washing the car as we approached, unable to miss the way Jacob looked at me or the fact that we were holding hands. I had no choice but to introduce them before Jacob departed, promising to call me later. I didn't catch it when Ryan winked at Dad. When Mom inquired about how it went, I replied with a simple okay before heading upstairs to put away my things. Later, in the kitchen, Mom asked about the boy. "What was his name, honey?" "Jacob. Jacob Pomerantz. He's Heather's twin brother, but they don't resemble each other at all." "He's cute," Mom remarked, handing me a pen. "Did he ask you out?" "No. He said he would call," I answered, eager to change the subject. "How many orders came in today?" "Ryan mentioned he sent nearly 200 orders for your plaid jumper and another 100 assorted ones. He also mentioned that he can now directly send the orders to the factory, eliminating our need to deliver them. You handle the designs, Ryan handles the posting, we send the orders to the factory, and Dad handles the finances. You're earning quite a bit now, Ava, so we can increase your allowance if necessary." "Okay, Mom. Whatever you think," I replied. She poured the popcorn into the pan and added butter. "I'll take this outside if you can get Dad and Ryan." Over popcorn, we delved into the progress of my burgeoning business. According to Dad, after accounting for factory costs, I was netting an average of $3.12 on each item, and the orders were pouring in. Dad proposed sending 3 more of my designs, having Ryan showcase them on the website, and keeping the momentum going. I agreed, promising to make the dresses myself and pose for Ryan in a few days. Then, Dad informed me of my bank balance, nearly causing me to fall off my chair. Ryan chimed in with news that the success of my designs had attracted the attention of a local newspaper who wanted to feature me in an article. Both Mom and Dad assured they would handle it, setting ground rules for any potential interviews. I was overwhelmed by how much my life had changed in just a few months. From a geeky, skinny kid who designed dresses and made jewelry as a hobby, I had transformed into a young girl with considerable wealth and perhaps even a boyfriend. Overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events and the mounting pressures, tears welled up in my eyes, a reaction entirely unfamiliar to me. Mom took my hand and led me upstairs. I dashed into my room, with Mom close behind. She closed the door as I collapsed onto my bed, overcome with tears. Everything I had believed about myself seemed like a fabrication. I wasn't as tough as I thought. I was just an ordinary teenage boy. Allowing another boy to hold my hand felt like a betrayal of my identity, yet I couldn't deny that I enjoyed it. Jacob was tall and robust, while I felt small and frail in comparison. What would become of me? Would I become beautiful? Despite being accepted by the girls when I undressed among them, I knew deep down that I didn't truly belong. Despite having more money than I could spend, I was just a 14-year-old girl. What would I do with it all? Mom sat beside me, gently rubbing my back, patiently waiting for my sobs to subside. Then, we had our first heart-to-heart as mother and daughter. As I confessed my feelings, my shame intensified, prompting another wave of tears. I admitted to Mom that I enjoyed being a girl, that I liked Jacob and the way he looked at me, and that I felt comfortable in my own body. Essentially, I confessed to enjoying every aspect of being a girl. I enjoy being a girl too, honey. Being a woman is not just about physical appearance, it's also about mental strength. If you like being a girl, then embrace it fully. Be the most feminine version of yourself. If Jacob makes you happy, let him hold your hand and maybe even kiss you. But always remember this, you are whoever you choose to be. All of us, including Ryan, have witnessed your transformation into the girl you were meant to be. This journey began out of necessity when we needed a model, but it has evolved beyond that now. I can't see any reason to turn back, can you? No, I murmured meekly through my tears. If that's what you truly desire, to become a real girl, then it's up to you. You have to fully embrace Ava, both inside and out, in your heart as well as your body. Is that what you want? To become a real girl? My cry must have reverberated through the room as I confessed to Mom that I didn't know, although deep down, I did. I longed to be a girl but lacked the courage to voice it aloud. Caught between what I believed my dad wanted and what I knew to be my truth, Mom held me tightly until she voiced it for me. She asserted that I wanted to be a girl, and all I could do was nod in agreement. Ryan, I whispered. Heel. Honey, Ryan is thrilled about the idea of having a sister. He finds you very pretty, and I'm sure if you went downstairs right now and stood in front of him, he'd hug you and tell you how beautiful you are. Beneath his macho exterior lies a tender-hearted guy, Ava, and all you need to do is give him the chance to show it. And Dad? Your father still thinks this is merely about modeling clothes, but that perception likely shifted when Jacob escorted you home today. He's not oblivious. Ava, he probably already suspects, but I'll talk to him tonight. Why don't you remove that makeup, reapply it, and go talk to Ryan? I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. As Mom watched, I undressed right down to my skin, washed off the makeup, then put on clean panties, my bra, and sat at my vanity to redo my makeup. I kept it simple. Powder, blusher, and lipstick, a soft red that I liked. Then I pulled on a mini skirt and a top. I put on my white ankle socks and gym shoes, then added some perfume. Looking at Mom, I saw her smile, went to give her a hug, then asked her if she was sure about this. With a nod of her head, I left my room in search of my brother. I found him at the computer in Dad's office. He was intently downloading orders, sending them to the factory, and he did not know I was there. I touched him on the shoulder and he seemed to pop right out of the chair. He looked at me with those great big blue eyes of his, then grinned at me. Without a word, he put his arms around me, pulled me to his chest, and just stood there. Finally, he pushed me away and kissed me on the cheek. I told you I always wanted a sister, and here you are. And cute too. You don't hate me for dressing this way. Hell no. Why should I be mad? I have the best-looking sister around here. He pulled me to him again and added, if anyone bothers you, and you don't like it, you tell me. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again, okay? I kissed him on the cheek and hugged him, then ran outside. My emotions were at a fever pitch and I had to get away to straighten them out. As I ran, I could feel the pull of my chest as they bounced in my bra, and it was exhilarating. I now knew what I was, and became determined to do exactly what Mom told me. I was about to become as feminine as possible. When I went back in the house, I felt as if I was an entirely new person, and that person was a girl named Ava. The following day, nearly during breakfast, Ryan burst in holding an email, his voice raised in excitement. She wants to visit us. To our house. She's requesting a private fitting. Who are you referring to, dear? Mom inquired. The Stella, of course. All I need to do is send her an email informing her of the date. We settled on a date but agreed to keep it a secret. If word got out, she would be inundated with people, media, and newspapers. I had just over a week before her arrival. Mom exchanged a knowing wink with me and gestured subtly towards Dad, indicating that she had informed him. However, Dad hadn't shown any signs of acknowledging the news, leaving me uncertain. After finishing the dishes, I sought out Dad in the backyard where he was tending to his flowers. "Dad!" He straightened up, turning to face me. "I understand that we now have a daughter," I ventured, anxiously awaiting his response. He paused, his gaze fixed on me. "Your mother and I always wished for one of each, but we were content with our 2 boys, and you know how much we adore you both. Now, she informs me that we do indeed have one of each, a boy and a girl," he explained, settling onto his small folding stool. "Are you certain about this, honey? Is this truly what you want? Being a woman is different from being a boy," he continued, his tone gentle. "Dad!" All right. Just thought I'd mention it," he relented, taking my hands in his and offering a warm smile. "If you choose to be my daughter, there will be some new rules, you know." "I understand," I replied, attempting a smile but bracing myself for the worst. "For instance, you'll have to let me spoil you without mercy, check out all your boyfriends, and of course, I'll have to have plenty of kisses and hugs from you in return. Is that okay with you?" I embraced him tightly, causing us both to tumble to the ground, where we shared laughter, tears, embraces, and smiles. In that moment, my epiphany was complete. I realized that my family loved me unconditionally, regardless of my attire. It no longer mattered. Dad and I returned to the house to freshen up, but before we could finish, the phone rang. It was Janet. She and Heather were on their way over, promising big news. 20 minutes later, the 3 of us huddled in my room, the door closed, a sense of conspiracy palpable in the air. "Jacob is planning to invite you to his dad's office's annual picnic," Janet exclaimed. "So," I responded, unsure why this warranted such secrecy. "It's just a picnic, right? What's the big deal?" "Because Jacob can hardly contain his excitement, Ava. He's infatuated with you, Ava. He's really into you." "Perhaps I shouldn't go then," I pondered aloud. They both chuckled at my remark. It was no secret that if Jacob extended an invitation, I would accept it, and as Mum advised, I would embrace my femininity to the fullest. After exchanging gossip for a while, they bid their farewells and departed. Somehow, Jacob had become more than just a friend in my mind. I even found myself dreaming of him kissing me, though that was a secret I kept to myself. Throughout the week, Mom and Dad dedicated their efforts to ensuring the house was in perfect condition, with Ryan and me pitching in to help tidy up. Ryan even printed a small brochure for our esteemed guest, the Stella. Jacob called me twice, eventually asking me to accompany him, to which I gladly agreed. Apart from some playful teasing from Ryan, no one made any comments. On the day of Estella's visit, I opted to wear one of my own dresses. It was a simple shift dress with a round neck and keyhole design on the front and back. I paired it with plain flats and minimal makeup. As I opened the door to welcome her in, I struggled to recognize her. Instead of being blonde, she was now a brunette, and her blue eyes had transformed into brown. Nonetheless, we both knew who she was, and I ushered her in, accompanied by her mother. At 16, Stella wasn't much older than me, and we seemed to hit it off immediately. Once introductions were made, Ryan offered to showcase all the photographs taken of me in each of my outfits. Our mother, Stella, Ryan, and I gathered around the computer as Ryan scrolled through the images until Stella made her selection. Ryan jotted down the numbers and continued browsing. Stella ultimately chose 5 dresses and 4 skirts to be custom-made. Following that, at Mom's suggestion, we all adjourned to my room where Stella changed so I could take her measurements, carefully noting her preferred cuts. As she dressed again, our mothers excused themselves, leaving us alone. It was then that I had the opportunity to converse with the most renowned pop star in the country. Surprisingly, she wasn't much different from other girls our age. She had a boyfriend back home, but their outings were restricted to times when she could disguise herself, similar to today. I shared details about Jacob and our upcoming first date the following weekend. Like typical teenagers, we exchanged boyfriend-related secrets, quickly forming a strong friendship. We exchanged our personal phone numbers, email addresses, and home addresses, and I assured her that I would personally create her clothes rather than relying on the factory. When she departed, we shared a warm embrace before her mother drove away in an inconspicuous sedan, leaving everyone unaware of her true identity. I began working on the dresses that very day and had them completed by Friday. Dad handled the shipping while Mom and I embarked on another shopping trip. During our journey to the mall, Mom mentioned that while my hips were generally fine, using towels as padding was not ideal and could leave marks on my skin. Agreeing with her assessment, I realized it was time for a better solution. Instead of heading to the mall, we returned to see the doctor. By then, she was fully aware of my decision to live as a girl, and with Mom's approval, she prescribed me some small purple pills. She explained that these hormones would facilitate the development of a feminine chest and hips, a prospect that filled me with joy. Afterward, we resumed our shopping excursion. I purchased another pair of shorts, tops, and shoes, and treated myself to a visit to the salon for a hair and nail session. This time, I knew what to expect. Upon returning home, I understood that the pills prescribed by the doctor were hormones that would prompt my body to develop feminine features. True to her word, Stella mentioned my name and website at each of her concerts, resulting in a flood of orders. It seemed like every girl aged 12 to 22 bought at least one of my dresses. Stella's entire ensemble also had their measurements taken and sent to me, making me the exclusive supplier of her costumes. Suddenly, I found myself not only wealthy but also widely recognized. Jacob and I attended his dad's company picnic, and it was a delightful experience. Following Mom's advice, I embraced my femininity to the fullest. As the afternoon faded into evening, Jacob escorted me to a secluded spot, enveloped me in his arms, and planted a kiss on my lips. It was a moment of sheer bliss, with flashes of light dancing before my eyes and thunder echoing in my ears. That tender kiss marked my first romantic encounter outside of my family, and it was nothing short of magical. In the following months, and before the summer's end, my doctor acknowledged the inevitable and commenced my journey into womanhood. From that point onward, I never looked back. Although attending a public school was no longer an option due to my records still identifying me as male, my parents arranged for me to enroll in a private school, despite the financial strain. Over the subsequent year, my business experienced another surge when an all-girl group commissioned me to design their dresses, resulting in a deluge of orders once more. As my body underwent changes, with curves beginning to take shape in all the right places, neither my family nor the doctor ever broached the subject of how this transformation began, nor did they find it peculiar. It was simply accepted. Currently, I possess a modest bust line and some hip development, with both Mom and the doctor assuring me that fuller curves will manifest in due course. With newfound confidence and a sense of self, I eagerly anticipate the future. My designs have evolved, remaining fashionable yet imbued with quality, and the name Ava now signifies excellence. But enough reminiscing for now. Jacob will be arriving shortly to whisk me away to the submarine races in the park. It promises to be an enjoyable evening. If you enjoyed this story and want to show your support, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, for every comment with 69, you could have a chance to video chat with me. Thanks for your time.